the finance minister on the financial sector, and you all know the challenges that the country has had to deal with in the past few months, if you like, about 2 years now. Well, let's get on the phone now and speak to Dr. Joseph Obeng. He's the president for the Ghana Union of Traders Association. As the finance minister indicated, one of the things that this budget seeks to do is to make small businesses happy. Well, Dr. Obeng represents that group. Let's find out from him whether or not they find themselves in this budget and whether or not he finds their members happy, as the finance minister has said. Dr. Obeng, thank you very much for your time this afternoon here on the Pulse.
Thank you so much.
I believe that you and your members followed this presentation very clearly and closely, because this year you've had a lot of issues with your sales and how it went, and you have not been happy about some parts of it. What is your initial reaction? How have your members reacted to the budget, the parts that concern you so far?
Okay, thank you so much. We appreciate the efforts of government. This budget is quite ambitious and is quite loaded. For us, as a trading community, if you look at the ambitious infrastructure development that they are seeking to undertake, then naturally, if it should trickle down on us, it means that over about $2 billion in infrastructure development then will come to us. Then we will say that is a good thing, because you will see that infrastructure development was relaxed during the previous 2 years, and government being the biggest spender and all that, if this thing comes in the coming year, and then the procurement issues are done in the manner that the benefits will trickle down on us, then
and that's exactly what I want to come to, the benefit. How exactly will a focus on infrastructure, for example, benefits persons or organizations in the Ghana Union of Traders Association?
Yes, if the government builds roads, well, if the government built schools, hospitals, and all these things. For instance, I'm in the electrical business, then it's expected that I'll be able to say a lot of, because is building related. Then we are expected that it will trickle down. But our problem is with the procurement arrangement as it is at where now. That's why we raised this issue that the procurement arrangement should be looked at, so that it shouldn't be a one winner takes all. That if these things can be broken into lots, then it will then benefit all of us.
So for the Ghana Union of Traders Association, you're looking at procurement processes as far as the focus on infrastructure is concerned. You're looking at procurement processes that will benefit your members.
Exactly, because the present arrangement, you see that he put a figure of about $2 billion on it. Then it should be shared proportionally, that everybody should get. But if in a case that the procurement of these materials will be won by just one single person to be doing for a particular aspect of the project, then it's not trickling down on us. That's why we'll call on the procurement ministry, so that if we have to sit down and evaluate on some of these things, then we'll all have the benefit of it.
Okay.
So that's for it. And then they were saying that we have housing deficits of over 1.5 million homes. And this is the reason why we were even expecting that housing-related products that we import should also have some kind of rebate, so that it will motivate builders to also patronize products. If these things are expensive, you cannot achieve this target. But
that was not captured in the budget, was it?
No, it wasn't captured, because the fiscal policy did not see any concession being given to the trading community at all. The government seeks to intensify tax compliance.
Exactly.
But without giving us any concession, because I've said that tax that is not affordable can never be compliant with. Because in order to ensure tax compliance, then there should be the affordability aspect, where we have always complained about high duties and all that.
But in this particular budget, we have not seen any new taxes being introduced, even though the minority earlier predicted that the government was looking for ways to introduce new taxes. We have seen that there has not been any new taxes introduced. Were you expecting that your taxes would go down?
If you have been listening to GUTA, since the latter part of 2016, they introduced the common external tariff, which doubled all the interest rates. And we have been complaining that we go back to the pre-CET era where we can have some respite. But now, cumulatively, duty rates goes about 50% of import capital to about 65%, and which make compliance very difficult. Any tax that is not affordable, my sister, you have problem with this. Unless maybe the policy is geared towards reducing import, then the government would have achieved.
One of the things that the finance minister actually said. He made reference to the fact that government is looking to reduce its dependence, or the country's dependence, especially on food imports.
Yeah. So if that is the intention of government, then I believe that they will achieve it, because even now, imports have reduced drastically. You can go for statistics from June till to date. Imports have halved. So if it is government intention, then, but then if we are talking about opportunity cost here, Ghana mainly also are import-driven country. You look at our manufacturing sector, it's about 90% of it is imported. We don't have the local content here. Most of these raw materials and components for manufacturing are all imported. So if the policy is geared towards that, then if care is not taken, it will even eat into the manufacturing sector, and then most people who depend largely on imports for their livelihood will also be curtailed.
Okay.
And so that's what I'm talking about.
Let me focus a bit more on government's intent to reduce the dependence on food import, or to reduce the importation of food, because you have indicated that if that is an intention, then you believe that government is likely to achieve it. But will it affect your members? Is there any effect this would have on your members?
And that's what I was saying. Then it's going to curtail the businesses of those people who are dependent on imports also. And even to the extent of even manufacturing. Because manufacturing here, apart from the 1D, 1F, that primarily depends on the local products, raw material based and all that. Other manufacturing entities, most of them depend on the importation of their products. And so that's why I'm saying, so when we are doing this, we do the opportunity cost, if it's going to, at the long run, going to benefit the greater majority of it. If most of us apply their trade, even in advanced nations and all that, no one says that they are curtailing imports. The Europeans and all that, most of them even buy from Asia, that's China in particular.
All right.
And so if that is the intention, then I believe the coming year import will reduce drastically, because the rate of duty is still very high.
And that will be
we
positive.
Are also talking about
will that be a positive thing for GUTA?
Definitely, if somebody is unable to do the work that he's doing, then definitely you cannot say that is a positive thing. But then let's see the drive. If the drive is such that we can have alternative things to do, then we'll look into the budget and see where we can also drive our activities to. They were talking about tax exemptions also, and there I was quite happy with their admission that the tax exemption policy has not helped. Over 5.2 billion being exempted billion cities being exempted, whilst the dependency is on just a few of us who keep on paying the duties. So government's recognition that the tax exemption is even unsustainable, according to the finance minister, and also said that the benefits are even doubtful, that we are not getting the needed benefits. We believe that if these things are made to be reduced, and then it mitigates us and give us rebates on the few who have been paying these duties and taxes, then we are getting there, because you want to expand the tax net. And then if you have to expand the tax net, then you have to have rebate, and the debate being that you give affordable taxes for a larger compliance.
Okay.
And so that's my bit for that
all right.
area. When it comes to the macroeconomic statistics, we saw so many positive figures and all that. But then also the micro and macroeconomic indicators looking good and all that. We have to do some introspection to find out why people still are complaining that things are getting difficult and things are hard and all that. We have to do some introspection. Does it mean that our gains are being siphoned away by these multinationals and all that? We have to take time, dissect the issues so that we'll find the way out, because you give very favorable figures and very appreciating.
Does that mean, Dr. Obeng, that the figures that we're seeing, the figures that the finance minister went through in the budget, does not necessarily reflect your, the business you do and the outcomes of your business or the business of your members?
If that is the sentiment of the generality of Ghanaians, as you are a news.
Well, I'm asking about your members and how they feel about such figures. Is this something that you see, that resonates with you in your day-to-day activities? You see that, well, the figures are looking good, and it's looking good in our pockets as well.
Yeah, from what we normally say that and all this.
And people say that every day when we go out to the microphone.
And that's what I'm saying, that the figures look very good, and we appreciate it. But then we have to do some introspection to find out why these things are not reflecting so much. And if we are able to do this, then the benefit of it will be reflected, because I'm thinking that then the gains are being siphoned or being given out to maybe the multinationals and the big industries like the communication, the extractive industries and all that. Maybe the proof benefit them more, where they do repatriate their benefits with that actually. So we have to do some introspection.
Okay.
Otherwise, everything is okay. I also appreciate the effort of government in his consistency on the agri sector. You realize that having gotten oil and all that, would have relaxed on agri and all that, and then their efforts to increase the boost of agriculture is in a positive state, and that they should.
But the final thing that I'd like for you to touch on for me is what government is doing in the banking sector, because it's one of the major areas that we've had issues with, where a lot of people have complained that it has had major effects as well on the economy. And certainly when the banking sector goes down, it affects your people, because your people need the money, you need the banks to give you loans, etc., to fuel your businesses.
In this area, the government have done extremely well, having injected 9 billion into that sector. What I was expecting is for the finance minister to do was to also find a way to retrieve some of this money that have gone bad from these banks. And I was expecting that he would have continued, because we don't have to let these things go waste, pay through the taxpayers' money all the time, and then the corporates also go free. So I was expecting that it should have continued. That government is going to make sure that they retrieve those monies that have gone through the hands of these some of these banks. And that would have completed the whole thing. But in all, they've done well. The budget looked quite ambitious, and then it means that the 2019 is so packed of activities, and that if we are able to manage it well, it will trickle down to most of us. And generally, that's how I have to
that's how you see it generally. Before I let you go, Dr. Obeng, I'd like for you to say specifically what is in this budget that, as the finance minister said, is supposed to make small businesses happy. What in this budget makes you, as a representative of businesses, happy?
I've told you that we did not get any concession in our pleas to have some tax rebates. So, and even when they said that we are going to intensify compliance of tax and all that, they did not give us the bait to do that. And that's the area. But apart from that, I'm saying that the generality of the budget looks very ambitious. And if you look at the developmental projects, because we lacked these projects in the first 2 years because the government was settling in. And that once that they have decided to make massive infrastructural development and all that, definitely it will bring a boom to business. And that's what I'm expecting. And I pray that the procurement issues are amended in a way that the gains will be trickled down on us and not just to a few beneficiaries.
Dr. Obeng, thank you very much. Dr. Joseph Obeng there. He's the president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association there. So what he's basically saying is that if government commits a certain amount to infrastructural development, that the procurement processes that goes into the execution of these infrastructural projects should be made such that, you know, it's spread across, the money is spread across businesses like those that he heads, so that there will be money all over the place. Because when he believes that when the money trickles down, then it boosts the economy.